Hi, my name is Fede and I'm building a Mediterranean boat. In this episode, I started working with the wood that I bought some weeks ago, and we have started doing the basic cutting and joining for the woods for the keel, the stern post, the stem, and so on. The long pieces for the keel and the top keel are made out of two pieces. When I went to the wood mill, I cut them extra long because there were some areas of the woods with knots and some rot. So before doing any permanent cut, I need to do some measurements and decide which ends are better to be cut off and which ones to do join.
No passa mai sa gent, amb poca cosa tenen prou per treure un altre color nou. Flors de baladre no.
Using some tools in this wood, we've come to realize that this is very here. The circular saw is smoking, our chisels are all blunt, and we even managed to break a fire. There's a saying in Chinese that says,
工欲善其事，必先利其器.
that roughly means a workman must first sharpen his tools if he is to do his work well. So before we can proceed, we have asked the help of Laura, that it's one of our hosts and she's also a cook and can give us a hand. Nom, edat i gènere?
Maria del Carme, 69 anys. I què era l'altre? Grup sanguini?
Grup sanguini. Que ens ensenyaràs avui.
Però, en sèrio?
Sí.
Vale. Jo no sóc una experta afilant eines, però sé afilar ganivets perquè sóc cuinera, llavors els ensenyaré com ho faig jo, no sé si és la millor tècnica per fer-ho, però d'afilar, afilarà segur. Normalment té un número, doncs això serà 400, 800 i aquest 1000. Sempre es va del més petit al més gran. Mullada, ha d'haver-hi aigua dins.
Quan s'ha de fer? Com saps per passar a la següent?
Perquè no canvia.
Llegó un nuevo amanecer con la tigresa del oriente. Eso, rico papi.
Canta y encanta tu pueblo, tigresa.
¿Y por qué no podrá rectificar? Siempre hay un nuevo amanecer.
Now that our tools are sharp again, the next piece that I want to cut is the keel. The keel is also made of two pieces of timber that are really heavy and will be joined by a locking scarf. The process for making the joints in this wood has many steps. The circular saw is not deep enough to go through the 6 centimeters of koa, so last bit we have to do it manually with the Japanese saw. Then, the inner groove, we cannot access it with the circular saw, so we use chisels to remove material piece by piece. And now that the shape is roughly cut out, we need to make it smooth and exact to the line. For that we use a power planer, a grinder, and finally the hand planer for the final cut. When we have one end, we need to repeat the process for the other half of the joint. We can use the joint that we just made to draw the complementary part and then follow the same process all over again. For the last piece of the keel, I had to go back to my lofting table to transfer the shape. The shape from wood to wood, I use this technique that I have seen in many boat building videos. First, I nail the heads of many nails to the lofting table, and then using a sheet of plywood and a mallet, I imprint the heads on the new piece of wood. The transfer, however, wasn't very clear since I'm using an elevated table instead of a firm lofting floor, so I ended up using paper stencil to complete the shape. Now I have the shape of the stem ready to transfer to the hardwood. Aside from using the template that I transferred from the lofting floor, I need to transfer the scars from the keel and the bow post and be sure that they're at the right angle and they all match up. For this piece, I choose a very knotty piece of koa with grain following the curve of the stem. Koa has proven already to be very difficult to cut, but I had the feeling that this one was going to be even more.
que no té memòria. Penso somrient, ara és moment de canviar la història. Baixo al carrer convençut perquè avui és el dia de dir-te oportú que estic boig per tu, sento alegria. Al bar he arribat i t'has abraçat en aquell idiota i allí m'he quedat tot palplantat, una altra derrota. Sempre et vull parlar i per dissimular-te em gires l'esquena i ja no puc més suportar l'estrès que em fa aquesta pena. La mala sort sé que acabarà, tinc el secret per fer-te somiar. Per això quan et trobi vull fer-te ballar una rumba agafat de la mà. Passes pel costat i ni m'has mirat una altra vegada. No t'has atrevit perquè el malparit et té segrestada. Però ara ja sé que podés voler i et faig un somriure. Temptaré la sort i jugaré fort, vull que siguis lliure. I ell s'ha despistat, l'hora ja ha arribat de la meva proesa. T'agafo la mà per portar-te allà sense timidesa. La pista de ball ningú perd de tant quan entrem a escena. Cossos arrambats et miren callats i ara sé que ets meva. La mala sort sé que acabarà, tinc el secret per fer-te somiar. Per això quan et trobi vull fer-te ballar una rumba agafats de la mà. Mira'm a la cara, és el destí. Besa'm com tu saps, fes-ho per mi. Mira'm a la cara, és el destí. Besa'm com tu saps, fes-ho per mi. Mira'm a la cara, és el destí. Besa'm com tu saps, fes-ho per mi. Mira'm a la cara, és el destí. Besa'm com tu saps, fes-ho per mi. la mà.